Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey, 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 hey. Hello, foodie booties. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I guess I'm gonna talk just briefly about Shantal Marie Shantal's show, The Daily Shantal, Shantopolis, Big Beautiful Me, Floppy Bobby, Shantal Al Rafe, Shantal Period, The Beezer Show, Everyday Miriam, whoever, whatever. We're talking about Foodie Beauty. Foodie Dookie, whatever her name is today, whatever she's choosing to call herself on the internet today. Because, you know, it changes every 3 to 5 business days. And if you follow me on Twitch, this might be a little bit of a surprise to you that I'm posting this today, because I've been talking pretty freely and openly with my Twitch community about how Shantal just doesn't bring me a lot of joy from a content creation standpoint these days. And if you've watched for a while, you know that I have gone back and forth with Shantal in terms of like my level of interest in covering her, my level of desire to cover her. And I feel like I'm in one of those spaces right now where covering Shantal is just like not something I thoroughly enjoy doing. And I thought today we could use, you know, the conversation of her returning to Canada, potentially, question mark, to have the discussion about how I'm feeling. But first, before we get into that, I just want to thank today's sponsors. The sponsor for today's video is Scentbird. If you're anything like me, you have trouble deciding on what kind of scents you like, what kind of fragrances you like to wear, and Scentbird is a great opportunity for you to try out a bunch of new scents without committing a lot of money. For just $17 a month, you get to pick a new designer fragrance to try out and test out before you commit to buying a huge fancy version of that fragrance. They send it to you in these little vials that look like this, perfect for traveling, perfect for tossing in your bag while you're on the go. And personally for me, I am somebody that is trying to experiment and move past just like traditional masculine scents to wear. I like to try to mix in some more traditionally like feminine scents, and that's why this month one of my favorite scents that got sent to me is 7 Summers by Dime. I really love the like warm sugary scents that come from this particular fragrance, but I feel like the champagne notes in it also help give it a little bit of that masculine vibe that I traditionally go for. This month I also got Madonna Lily from Dead Cool and By the Sea from Memoir, and both of them also do a great job of kind of teetering the line of traditionally masculine and feminine scents. You can also change out the vials of fragrance from within the case here, so you just lift it up like that and they take it out. You can also lock the scent while it's in your bag so you don't have to take any risks of it accidentally getting sprayed or anything like that. It's a really generous amount of fragrance for you to try out and figure out what it is you really like. You can use my coupon code 55Zachary for 55% off at Scentbird. That's just a little over $7 for your first month, and this offer is available in the USA and Canada. So once again, make sure to use my link and code in the description box down below at Scentbird, and thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. So the other day, and by the other day I mean literally yesterday, Shantal posted a video that was a Applebee's mukbang where she announced that she had a big announcement, but the big announcement was that I don't know, everybody is taking it to mean she's literally going to be going to Canada, but even just listening to it, and I'm going to be fully transparent, didn't watch the whole entire thing, but even just listening to the video, at least at the beginning, she said, I think I'm probably going to go back to Canada. And, you know, with Shantal, she could just be purposely being vague. The last few times that she's traveled anywhere, people have, like, tried to look for flights she might be on. And of course, when she did go back to Canada last time, there were people showing up places that they thought she might be or might have been. And so I understand if she doesn't want to come out and affirmatively say, yes, I'm going back to Canada, whoever, whatever. She also claims in this video that she's doing it because, you know, she doesn't see herself getting better in Kuwait. She doesn't think that she will get better mentally, physically, emotionally, and so she wants to do that work in Canada. Now, that didn't work for her the last time she went to Canada, so I don't know why she thinks all of a sudden it's going to be different this time. If you recall, the last time she went home to Canada, she... her boo, Salah, her alleged husband, her partner, got caught texting a woman about wanting to poop on her or something like that. So, and then she like immediately flew back to Kuwait to get him in line. So, you know, it's hard to say what will actually happen with her. And I really, when I initially saw the tweets about it, because I also need to be quite honest and frank with you, in the past few weeks, I made the like radical decision to unsubscribe from Foodie Beauty. Actually, right as she was in all this drama of like gaining enough subscribers to be at 100,000 subscribers, I had actually, prior to that, already decided to unsubscribe to her because I just was so exhausted by her, exhausted by her content, exhausted by the commentary around her, including my own, to be honest with you. And so I was just like, I'm gonna disconnect. But the problem is that I'm so deep into girl world Twitter that like I have yet to get out of that part of girl world Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So like I still get recommended tweets. I also follow a lot of people who I really respect. I usually actually always tag them in the description box of my Foodie Beauty videos, so you can go find people like Stuff K Said, Shenanigans, Pizza of Shit. They're all people who regularly cover her. And so I don't know. I don't want to unfollow them because sometimes they tweet about other things I like and enjoy too. But part of me is like, I don't know. Maybe I need to just go in and mute the words Foodie Beauty, Shantal, etc., just so that I can really fully, truly take a break from Shantal. I saw the news about her allegedly getting ready to go back to Canada again, and there was this little tiny part of me, and that's the little tiny part that even, like, had me wanting to come on here and make a video about it. There's this little tiny part of me that got excited because I really, you know, was sucked back into Shantal the last trip home, and that's actually less to do with Canada and more to do with, you know, the stuff that happened with her alleged husband, Salah. But I also realized once I started watching the video about her talking about wanting to go back to Canada, I realized, wow, like, this is not, I'm not actually invested in this at all. Like, I think she's stupid still. I still think she's making crazy, like, decisions surrounding her life, her health, her happiness. But I also just genuinely, at this point, don't care. And I'm really hesitant at any point to ever say, I've made videos in the past, I think they were very popularly used to critique me, where I was like, I'm disengaging from Shantal. And people are like, yeah, you're disengaging from Shantal until, you know, you need content to make again, or you need to make money again, or whoever, whatever. Any decision I make to cover Shantal is genuinely because I'm interested in talking about it, or I think it's important to talk about. And also, just to note, like, similar for Amberlynn, like, I do actually genuinely still enjoy making Amberlynn content. I don't feel that way when I turn on the camera to film something about Shantal. And I think a lot of that also is, like, the last video I made was nearly 3 weeks ago. I posted it on Valentine's Day, actually. And that was the last time I posted about Shantal specifically. And it was covering conversations about her being a bigot, specifically, you know, her language related to anti-Semitism. It also involved a lot of conversations of other content creators that she talked about. And I want to be clear because a lot of people wanted me to talk about those people, but also I don't typically talk about reaction channels unless Shantal brings them up. And in that case, I talked about what they said and or did because Shantal brought them up. That had nothing to do with the people on Twitter who were asking me to address those people. It had nothing to do with people who might be fans of those people. And those people specifically, just to be clear, just so that I'm not vague booking, those people in that video that I referred to or talked about were FFG, French Fried Girl, and another creator named Just Breezin, who Shantal had brought up in defense of herself whenever she was talking about people accusing her of being anti-Semitic for using the word goblin.
I also meant to mention this in this video, and I don't think I did anywhere, and I don't know where to insert this as I'm editing, so I'm just going to put it here. But I also just want to say that another reason that I'm so disinterested in covering Shantal is because she's just so frequently beefing with other reaction channels. I mean, literally, that was all of her content last week. Every single live stream and or video was her whining and complaining about some kind of reaction channel, which is her prerogative to do. But I think at this point, it's pretty clear I don't want to engage in talking about other reaction channels. I just don't care about them in that kind of way. And I don't watch any of them regularly enough to give you like a full opinion outside of like the little snippets of stuff I see. And so that's another reason that I'm just like deeply disinterested in Miss Ma'am these days.
After that video, I was just like, I was a little bit frustrated because I felt like there was no way to win. There were people who were upset with me because I don't think anybody was upset at me for holding Just Breezin accountable, but there were people upset with me for my opinions and feelings on things that FFG has said or done. There were people who were upset with me and felt like I didn't say enough about what Just Breezin and FFG had done. There are people who were upset that I was just, they referred to me as things of like social justice warriors. And they also said that I was like virtue signaling and things like that when it came to Shantal. And I just want to be clear, I talk about those things because I think they were important. And there were a number of people in the community here that are Jewish who took issue with the things that Shantal was saying. And I have since learned that there are even like some discrepancies amongst people in the Jewish community in terms of if that word is or isn't offensive. And I just want to say I was taking cues from people that were Jewish and said that they had a problem with it. I don't think that I'm like the arbiter of justice on that specifically. Like, I'm not an expert in the Jewish community by any means. But I was trying to listen to what people were saying and do my best to advocate. And also keeping it in the context of Shantal, right? Like, the context of Shantal is that there have been a number of times where she did something that was offensive, where she said something that was offensive, and that people asked her to stop doing those things because it was offensive, and she doubled down. So examples of that are referring to Charlie Gold as Charlie Cole. You know, regardless of whether or not Shantal initially, because Shantal's stance in that case is that she didn't mean it in a racial way, but people repeatedly said, well, it doesn't matter if that's what you meant, that's how it's being taken, maybe you should just not say it anymore, and she kept saying it. Similarly, she's done that with her use of the R word, the R slur, the slur that's used towards the disabled community often. She has doubled down on her right to use that word as well. And so, to me, her doubling down on the use of the word goblin in reference to FFG was following that pattern for me. It's a pattern of behavior from Shantal where she has been called a bigot time and time again and does nothing to change her behavior. And so anyways, people were saying that I was just being a virtue signaler and that I was a social justice warrior and that these were bad things about me. I think it's frustrating to me because, like, it's hard for me as a public figure who admittedly does, you know, monetize having conversations about Shantal, to reiterate to people that I actually do care about these things, and to reiterate to folks that, like, yes, I'm talking about this because it's Shantal and I cover Shantal on my channel, but I also am talking about this in the context of Shantal because these are topics I care about and conversations I would have with people in my real personal life. You know, there's probably never going to be a way for me to convince the people who like to talk about virtue signaling and SJWs and this, that, the other, that like I'm being sincere in those things. I don't think that those people also are entirely concerned about whether or not I'm being sincere, if we're being quite honest. I think usually the goal in crying about virtue signaling is to make the topic about whether the alleged virtue signaler is being genuine in their addressing of the issue and moving it away from the actual issue itself, which was the bigotry. You know, I probably won't ever be able to convince folks that feel like I'm virtue signaling that I'm not a virtue signaler, that I'm not a social justice warrior. But I will continue in the context of like people I cover on my channel addressing things that are bigotry. With maybe now the exception of Shantal, only because at this point I feel exhausted of most topics related to Shantal. And in particular, I feel like there's only so many more ways that I can spell out how much of a bigot she is as a human, as a person. It's beginning to feel like not a productive time for anybody involved. I certainly don't want to ignore when she does bad things, but I also don't necessarily know that I want to acknowledge any of the things she's doing much these days. And I don't like to make like blanket statements of like, I'll never talk about Shantal again, because I don't know that that's where I'm at. And there was once upon a time where I said that I was never going to cover Shantal or Amberlynn again, ever on my channel. And obviously I failed at that. I obviously did. And in hindsight, I feel like what I should have said was I'm taking a break from covering these people, but that's not what I said at the time. And so I don't know where I'm at with that. I don't know if we're taking a break. I don't know if I'm done forever. I guess I wanted to just give an update to people over here because I have had these conversations in my Twitch streams with folks about covering her and people wanting to talk about her. Just to be clear, we don't actually spend a ton of time in my Twitch streams. We do talk about them every once in a while, but we don't spend a ton of time talking about Shantal or Amberlynn over there. My Twitch channel and my Twitch re-upload channel here on YouTube, I have an additional channel called Zachary Michael also, where I re-upload clips from my Twitch streams, particularly the parts of my streams where we react to YouTube videos. And none of that time spent there is spent heavily on Shantal or Amberlynn. We might briefly talk about them at the beginning of the stream, but I don't spend a lot of time discussing them. And even in the context that I've had this conversation, it's been more about like, hey, y'all, I'm trying to think of where I want to take my main YouTube channel and what direction I want to take it in. Because on Twitch, I try new things all the time. We react to somebody different almost every day over there. We have so many conversations about so many other things, and it really feels like a fun place that I've just been able to experiment and try all kinds of stuff. And I don't feel like I necessarily have the same freedom over here on my main channel, if I'm being honest. And so I want to also just be honest with my main channel about that. In the past couple of weeks, I feel like you've probably seen significantly less content than what I normally post, because for a long while, ever since honestly I started doing YouTube full time as like my full-time gig, I have posted nearly every Monday through Friday daily. I take very few breaks even when I have like vacations and things like that planned. And once I started getting like over Shantal, I started thinking like, wow, I just kind of need to give myself room to breathe and not feel like I have to post every day. And so that's where the conversation with my Twitch chat started, which was just that, like, I know people don't care if I cover Shantal or not, to be honest with you. Like, anytime that I post stuff about Shantal, almost inevitably I get a number of comments that are like Zach, I don't like Shantal, I don't like content about Shantal, but I'm here for whatever you post, so I'll watch it. So I know people are not like saddened or upset that there isn't Shantal content, but what I do feel like people might be sad about is when there's just like not content in general, because I know a lot of people are so it's so thoughtful that you share these things with me and tell me about about these things, but so many people say that like they look forward to having a video to come home to at the end of their work day, or like having a video to put on while they're cooking dinner, or maybe to put on while they're laying in bed trying to fall asleep at night. And so I know people look forward to a daily video from me, and I just know that I haven't been putting that out. And I think it's because I honestly have been trying to think what I want to do that I will enjoy to, one, replace Shantal content, but two, continue to create like sustainable content over here. I want to make sure that I'm doing stuff that I like, and sometimes that isn't Shantal. Sometimes it is Shantal, but lately it's not Shantal. I mean, even this like potential going back to Canada thing doesn't have me excited. I watched part of the video this morning, and I sat here for a long time trying to decide if I even wanted to make this video or not because I just really am not feeling Shantal these days. And that's not a feeling I have with Amber Lynn. That's not a feeling I have with the 1,000 Pound Sisters when it's airing. And so I just really want to focus on what I enjoy, and I want to make things I enjoy. So I hope that moving forward, as I try new things over here, I've tried new things with like Love is Blind. I do enjoy talking about that show. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from people on what they liked about those videos and what they didn't. So I appreciate all of that. But yeah, as I try new stuff, I just want to say I appreciate all of y'all showing up to whatever content I post over here. I really, truly appreciate it. I hope that also those of you that don't like Shantal clicked on this video anyways and heard this message, because it's something I really wanted to share with you all. I realized that when I didn't enjoy the video, that it was a great explanation and helped me understand so much, like how to explain to you all where I'm at with Shantal. I was like, this thing that's supposed to be potentially exciting in the foodie beauty quarter of the internet, we could potentially get good Canada content again from Shantal, and I'm like not even excited a little bit. I knew that would be, if anything, a great way to explain where I'm at with her content, where I have just like very little excitement over that, very little joy at the idea of making content about it. And like I said, that might change, but in the meantime, between time, I hope you'll stick around for other people I react to, other content I make. I hope you'll click on it, enjoy it, gobble it up, consume it, share it with your friends, get interested in new creatures of the YouTube internet world, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I don't know. This was a kind of a rambly video today. I do acknowledge that. So I hope that all of this made sense. I feel like I was able to get a lot off of my chest when it comes to how I feel about content about foodie beauty right now. And so if anything, that was helpful for me. It was helpful for me.
Thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. You can use code 55Zachary for 55% off your first month at scentbird.com. Link in the description box down below.
Yeah, that's all I got today. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll continue hanging out with us over here and ready to see what I have to post. If anything, maybe I'll keep not posting as often. And if nothing else, I am still streaming Monday through Thursday on Twitch, and I re-upload the reactions to my other YouTube channel, Zachary Michael, also, usually the next day. So if you want to check out some of that content, I'll make sure to leave that linked in my description box below so you can check that out as well. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notifications. Make sure to leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I love you all so much, truly, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!